Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Phil's Recap and Review. This is The Sopranos, Season 3, Episode 5, Another Toothpick. And here we are for the live commentary watch. If you haven't joined us for one of these, how we do it is we watch the episode live and we comment on it as it's going on. And you can watch it with us, but we will try to give you enough context for this particular episode to let you know where in the episode we are. But we'll do a little bit of an intro now, so if you want to watch along with us, now's the time to go find the episode. It's Season 3, Episode 5, one more time, of The Sopranos, Another Toothpick. And I'm not alone tonight. I have with me my co-host, as always, Big Daddy Matt. How's it going tonight, Matt?
It's good. I'm half vaccinated, so I'm excited.
Excellent.
I'm in better shape than Bobby Bacala's dad was.
That's for damn sure. And I have to say, I feel like we've been saying this a lot at times, and we start off, I think, looking back at The Sopranos as a whole, some episodes age better than others. Right off the bat, before I even open up and say, you guys can call in 781-990-8509. Make sure you subscribe to because we're going to watch the entire Sopranos series from beginning to end and talk about it all the way through. Or I talk about a lot of other series, and Matt's going to jump on in here and there for some other stuff coming up soon as well. To fill up more of Matt's time with some useless conversations. But of all the Soprano episodes we've watched so far in our return after our 900-day break, this is my favorite one. This ages like a fine wine of an episode. I don't know if it got the critical appreciation that it deserved when it came out, but rewatching this, and spoiler that I know that you feel the same way about this episode, but this is one of my favorite Soprano episodes.
You know, and I think in my head, like before we really dug into it, I was like, man, that episode where she kills Richie is like one of the best episodes ever. And then we watched it and I was like, there's a lot of holes on this that aren't as great as it actually is. This episode from beginning to end, I think it's the best one we've seen so far.
Yeah.
And little things too. There's only 30 seconds of Jackie Jr. and he's treated like the little bitch that he is in it. There's only 30 seconds of AJ and he's treated like the little bitch that he is in it. Like it's not having either one of those two, the two worst characters in the show. It's great performances. Still, in my opinion, the best single episode performance, guest star performance in the whole series.
And that's the question. I like doing this last week or a couple weeks ago when we did the last episode, and I'm going to try to do this for every episode of The Sopranos to kind of just put out a question at the beginning going through. And I would say if this was an argument of maybe of all time, if I'm just talking about complete television series one-offs, but to keep this simple, is this the best single guest star appearance that we ever had on The Sopranos for one-offs? I know we had episodes where we had a couple of episodes arcs. I know you're not the biggest fan, but someone could bring Buscemi. I would maybe allow Feach, because Feach did have a couple of appearances, but he wasn't really there for a whole season. But as in,
Buscemi was there for a whole season.
But that's what I'm saying. He doesn't count. Buscemi's out. Right. But if we're talking single or barely guest appearances, I guess Feach would count a little bit, but I don't think it's as good as this. I think this is the single best guest appearance that we've had on The Sopranos to date. And it's followed up by another awesome one that I forget the actor's name and I have it written down somewhere, but the actor that plays the cop, he's been in tons of stuff and he's a freaking amazing actor too.
The guy from Rock.
The guy from Rock, yeah. And he was also in Oz, and he's done a lot of directing and behind the scene work too. I'm just blanking on his actual name, but he's an amazing guest actor, even for like the little part and Tony's little arc with that. And also, we're not alone right now. We have the chat with us and people that will be coming in and out this evening. We got Jake and Killmonger right now, and I'm sure we'll have a few other friends pop in throughout. But whenever you're watching this, what you thought of this episode of The Sopranos, please share it in the comment section below. Or if you're live in the chat section, you can also text us or call us in at 781-990-8509. Another huge thank you to Phyllis, who messaged me this week as well, Matt. She got her Soprano viewing taken care of. She was having some trouble figuring it out, and she's now able to check us out after the fact and jump in the comment section. So next week we'll have some comments from Phyllis, hopefully, about our discussion. Killmonger said Artie is abusing his friendship with Tony, thinking he can get away with all the shit that he does in this episode. And that's the other thing, Matt. This episode has the Artie storyline too.
it's got the scenes. I mean, the scene between him and Tony, like after he throws when he kicks Christopher outside, it's just that's such a great scene. Like Tony doesn't have that relationship with anyone else in the face of the earth. It's the only like straight guy that he's that tight with. You know what I mean? In the world, Phil, the whole. I'm too overwhelmed by this show. Like this episode. It starts off with your dream, which is Carmela and Melfi in the same room together.
It's amazing. It is very close to one of my dark fantasies, but it is such a great episode. It's so multi-layered. There's so much going on from each of the storylines. The Artie storyline, as Killmonger was saying, he's just abusing his friendship with Tony and seeing everything he can get away with. It's so true, but then it's so sad and it's so relatable too. It is, and I don't know if I've had that exact conversation with people, but I've had that conversation with people. I haven't slapped them around, but where someone's interested in where someone's to like I don't want to mention any names, but I've had those kind of conversations with people, and to be like, dude, come on, don't ever say that to anybody anywhere ever again. And I love how Tony really does love Artie in a way that he doesn't.
Again, it's unique. You don't see it. He's not like that with anyone else. That's not.
He's his pet,
a made guy. But he also loves him very much. Like he wouldn't want anything. He doesn't want anything to happen to Artie.
Do you love your dog? I think he thinks about Artie as his little dog, his little pet. Especially like when him and Carmela get a divorce future from now. Spoilers warning for people that haven't watched The Sopranos. I know some people don't mind, but we do spoil. This is a podcast out of time. We're not pretending that we haven't seen what's in the future. We're talking about later stuff.
Now that COVID's happened, if you had not seen this, now that you've had all year of COVID to watch it, there's no excuse.
Exactly. We'll spoil it away. So when he eventually gets a divorce, Artie moves in with him and he like carries Artie around like a little buddy. And I do think there is an element of he thinks of Artie as something good, and Tony always wants to have it's the animal thing too. Like he always wants to feel like he's connected to something good or someone good. I think he thinks Artie being a straight and narrow and caring about him. Because when he gets into a fight at one point with Carmela after they're divorced, the episode in where he sees everyone fake laughing at his jokes. It's speaking of Feech. It's the one, and then he sees Feech in the corner looking like this. Carmela starts going, you don't really have friends. You have people that just laugh at your jokes because they're afraid of you. And he goes, what about Artie? Like he wants to say, oh, I have Artie. Artie's my friend. He's my real friend.
Right. I have black friends. Like I have a friend, and it's Artie. All right, let's get started with this because I'll just talk for 3 hours about this episode if we don't.
Okay, let's get into this right now. This is, again, Season 3, Episode 5, Another Toothpick. If you're ready and you want to watch this episode along with us, we've got it right now. We've got it all queued up. We're going to do 3, 2, 1, and then go and push play. And you will be able to probably hear some of the audio through there so you can catch up where we are. A couple more comments before we get started. Killmonger says, Artie is just someone outside the mob shit he can just talk to. I mean, yeah, I think
why I'm not like updated in the live chat, unfortunately. The last thing I say is, I'm kidding, huh?
The question that just popped in, you might get it in a second. Artie is someone outside the mob shit he can just talk to. Do you think Tony likes having a friend that is sort of outside of the mob and he knows, and again, I think it's because he knows he likes him for him and he doesn't like him because he pays Artie or he's Artie's boss.
And I don't think he has any other friends that he grew up with that aren't in his universe,
Yeah. No, I would agree. So Matt, are you ready?
Give me 1 second. I want to see if maybe reloading the chat makes it like live for me, but
now this episode originally aired on March, so it's weird, this happened last time too. We're almost week to week here right now, or at least for now. This aired on March 25th 2001, so almost exactly 20 years ago tomorrow. We're rewatching this episode, so we're actually watching this at a very opportune time when it comes to the date. It was written by Terence Winter and directed by Jack Bender, both people that worked on multiple episodes of The Sopranos, especially Terence Winter. This was Jack Bender's first episode directed. And thank you, Talking Sopranos podcast, for that information. So here we go. Let's get ready to meet Mustang Sally. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, no, wait, Matt. My fucking phone fell down. My phone went fucking dark it was like it was listening to me. What an asshole. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go. We close?
I'm a little ahead of you, but it's fine. I'm going to pause for like... There we go. We should be good now.
We got Cam in the live chat. Hey, Phil the Issues guy. Hey, Matt. Good to see Cam in the chat tonight. And yeah, I'm excited to watch. I watched this episode not too long ago, last night, and I think I watched it last week too. And I'm actually still excited to see it again. And I'm curious how, because this is the best episode we've seen so far. I agree. I even think before leading up to this, I think this is the best single Sopranos episode so far up until this point. Maybe something in season 2 that I'm not thinking about, but
there's just not any holes in it.
Yeah.
Bobby's acting, maybe that's it.
You love Bobby.
Right.
You always gotta have one. But I want to compare this to an episode that's coming up in a couple of weeks as well, and maybe talk about this later after the episode airs. Pine Barrens is also coming up soon too, which is a lot of people's pick for the best single episode. So I almost want to compare it a little bit to that coming up.
I mean, that's a great episode for a different reason. It's because it's heavy on Christopher and Paulie, who are just entertaining, you know?
Hey, DJ Better's in there. Hey, extended family, just saying hi. I never watched The Sopranos. Great episode, Mustang Sally. Such a beautifully written and shot episode. Cam, I could not agree with you more. Seriously, one of the best episodes of The Sopranos in my mind. And we'll
talk about it when we get there, but there's other parts of it that I'm going to point out that are your favorite things.
Right here, starting out at the beginning, we open up with a very unique shot inside Milfy's office. A lot of people have pointed this out. This is the first time we really see the camera moving in this shot. Usually they are static shots between Tony and Milfy back and forth. Right in the scene to open up to see the wonderful, the amazing Miss Edie Falco and Carmela Soprano, as I blush a little bit, sitting in there. And I touched my hair too. I'm like, hi, Carmela.
I don't know what that was all about.
I don't know. It's the Furia. I had to be like, I have long hair too. So they were talking a little bit about this in Talking Sopranos, and I do like to mention some conversations that they have that I think are relevant and fun. Talking about how Carmela almost goes on the offensive here in a different sort of way, because once she meets Melfi, she knows for a fact they're not fucking. Like, once she meets her and sees how professional she is and the dynamic that they have in the room, she's pissed about different things. Like, I'm pissed at you because you're not making him better. I don't think what she was worried about before this moment is she knows they're not fucking. I think Carmela can read the situation enough to say she's not fucking you. You're not good enough for her. Like she knows. This is great too. Did it share with you the gabagool and the?
The gabagool and my mother when I was a little kid.
Yeah. Thank you, you fuck. Jay, great to see Jay in the live chat. Thank you, buddy, for checking it out tonight.
You know, another thing we learned about this is that, like, in their world, no one knows how therapy works. No one knows anyone who's been in it. No one has any idea what it's all about, which is why she doesn't know anyone else that's been in therapy.
Except we get Syl saying something like my daughter had to go because we saw her smoking the weed, and we gotta stick together in such times. Jason Voorhees, yes, fuck that episode of The Walking Dead. I needed to cleanse myself with a great episode of television after that. I'll never stop. Don't. And I love Carmela's description here about I broke it up in
a Russian person.
It's incredible.
People who smoke their whole lives and then they sue the cigarette companies when they get cancer.
You know, you agreed to come.
Carmela.
This is fucking ridiculous.
But it must be an awkward situation. I mean, I've been in couples counseling before, but I would not want at the time or any significant other in my particular therapy, because it's very personal. You're in your like personal space. There's nothing wrong with like a couples counseling situation where you're both going in individually, but in
like
this
on even ground.
Right, but in this situation, I understand how Carmela's feeling this way. I also understand how Tony's feeling. He's feeling like his therapy is invaded and his safe space is invaded. And Carmela's feeling like she describes right here, more the second thing. She's crying that she needs somebody to, because I've had this conversation too, coming out of a couples counseling session where you're like, I can't believe we had to pay someone to help us communicate. But what she says about being the new kid in school. Like, and that's true. Like when you go into any situation, if I hung out with, you and your best friend, Matt, and I've never met this kid before, I'd feel like the third wheel just because I'm not on your inside terms. Toast to everybody tonight. Cheers. No one was picking on her though.
No. She's the one that started it.
She did.
They were just sitting there quiet. Tony's line at the end, by the way, that I spoke over before, when he's like, "Yeah, you must have been the top of your fucking class."
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, it was great. We missed it, but and then we see here. This is. They were talking about this in Talking Sopranos too, and I don't want to reiterate everything they say, but Tony handles this situation like an asshole. Even if you know
he's used to that working. I mean, dude, it's fucking New Jersey.
Does it really work, or is he usually more level-headed enough to take the ticket and then get the ticket going away? You don't flash your shit to the cop on the scene. Like he flashes his.
I think if you're Tony Soprano and it's New Jersey, you do.
Jason Voorhees says, Carmela's that lady who will go full Karen on a kid. Yeah, I mean, there is some video of Carmela going nuts on somebody in the store for breathing on her or something. Yeah, he doesn't give a fuck, Tony. Tony, right there, read the fucking room. Stop. And then he's like, oh, I had dinner with your boss. Like, stop. He's an idiot. Tony Soprano can be a fucking moron sometimes. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and like in the Rock's defense, I'm gonna call him Rock. By the way.
Yeah, that's fine.
Tony was 100% speeding and driving like a complete and utter asshole.
Fucking asshole.
He didn't get pulled over. He was in the right lane, passing people, driving like an absolute asshole.
A jerk off. He was driving like an angry jerk off that could have killed.
We're saying this as masshole drivers. Like that's how he was driving. Did you kill the sound, by the way, Phil? You did. I'm just gonna turn mine on for myself.
No, I got it back. Sorry, I was killing it because you saw what I was trying to do there, so I was
correct.
I didn't want that sound in there to make me sound like a crackhead. But yeah, Tony handles this situation like the jerk off that he can be sometimes. When it really comes down to this,
and she's sitting here like just letting him act that way.
I think in a sense what she's doing. Oh, I got my Joe rant thing up. I think in a sense what she's trying to do is, or they're using this as a fucked up bonding experience. As a way of saying, oh, as fucked up as what we are, let's connect on the fact that this idiot should be out, And then to your point, Matt, this episode is like a home run bat. After a home run swing after a home run swing, or a perfect drive as such in a moment here. This is a great fucking scene. One thing I learned, I didn't realize she comes back in a later episode. She's the girl that tries to hook up with Christopher, Adriana's friend, that she gets fucking tossed out.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Mustaine Sally, and this is Vito's brother.
Yeah, I mean they gotta. He's gotta know the name on the truck though. Whatever. I mean,
he doesn't care. Remember what they said? They say it later in the episode.
Yeah.
He threw someone. Oh, what a fucking hit! He threw someone off at the Jet Stadium, like threw them off the stadium balcony or something. They say, isn't that what they say later? I haven't Killmonger. I haven't played Last of Us, but I am excited about the TV series. Joe Dirty Locks, who Joe, but Joe is the Last of Us guy. It's probably his favorite video game series. I'm not talking out of school to say it's probably Joe, the first one and the second one. And I'll release it eventually. Joe and I talked after the Walking Dead cast the other night for like 15 minutes about his thoughts on the casting, and we're gonna review the show and recap the show when it comes out. But I made that available just for patrons right now. It's like a private patron stuff. But after a month or so, I'll release the 15-minute podcast to the podcast server, and I'll make sure I send you that link. But Joe's the one that next time you're on one of these things, you have the Last of Us stuff. Ask Joe; he'll talk about Last of Us all fucking day. Fucking Ralphie.
What? He's such an asshole.
The golf club is a huge reference to Last of Us. Ralphie, bad
That's funny
fucking
too.
timing.
He wants him to bleed from his ass.
Yeah, oh, considering how what's his name ends up dying.
Yeah. But I love this. I love Jackie Jr. being treated like the bitch that he is.
Yeah, and you rob one Jewel concert? Wasn't it a Jewel concert? You think you're a fucking badass? Like, shut the fuck up, Jackie Jr.
You peed in your pants in front of the Jewel concert?
Yeah, douchebag. Get the. Okay,
Oh no, he says it's his cousin though, but
is the kid that played, and I guess we can talk about this more later, but it's just popped in my head. Is the kid that played Jackie Jr. a good actor because he plays such a convincible, pompous little douchebag? Because I think that's what the character, you're supposed to think about the character, right? Like, you're not supposed to think he's anything. You're supposed to think he's a fucking shitheel, right? You're supposed to think he's like a big AJ. So does the actor do a good job portraying that? I think so, right?
I guess so. You'd need to see him act in something else.
Yeah, and I don't think he ever did that. So this is a fucked up situation here. We get into how they got to get revenge on Mustang Sally. He's hoarded up. They don't know where to get him. He's not letting anyone close to him. And Tony lets Gigi do his stuff. Ralphie's giving Gigi a lot of shit about not being the captain. And we're seeing how annoying Ralphie can be and how Ralphie has no tact in any fucking situation ever. We're about to get into one of the funniest scenes in The Sopranos history, where they open the Whitman's box here. I don't know why this is so funny to me, but like it's fucking hilarious. Vito doesn't waste any time, gets the Whitman's box. This little minutiae is what makes The Sopranos so awesome. We've talked about it before because this is a real life situation. I've been in this situation before.
And even the situation where Paulie walks in and goes, I brought him some Whitmans, to a guy who's like in a coma, like dead, but like Paulie knows, like, I got to bring something. I brought him some Whitmans. I'm like, dude, the guy's not gonna, like, he's never gonna speak again.
But you brought him the fucking Whitmans. That's such a family thing. Because I'm not gonna credit to any, like, I'm not gonna say it's a Jew thing, it's an Italian thing, it's a Greek thing. But it's like a family thing. You know, when someone passes, you just fill them up with fucking food until they explode.
There are many rooms in my father's
So I don't know who died here. I think it's a relative of
Carmela's
Carmela.
uncle, I want to say.
Okay.
Was, like, her,
full life. A life
Someone we
Febby.
might. Yeah, Febby. Someone we may see in the Many Saints of New York movie, basically, probably.
his family as a devoted father.
Which,
I mean, he does such a good job in this role that you legitimately think, I'm like, that guy must actually have emphysema in real life.
Yeah.
There's no way he's just pulling that off.
yeah, and I guess Steve Sciarippa was saying that, I think that's his name, was saying that they were trying to cast this part for a little while, and there were some ups and downs with, they had asked Steve Sciarippa if his actual father was still alive to play the part, and they had read Burt Young. I don't know what, like, I think at first they were worried he was too iconic as Uncle Paulie, because we haven't got into the Uncle Paulie situation here, but Burt Young has been in tons of shit, but he's most iconic, and if you don't know him from anything else, you've never watched The Sopranos before, he's Uncle Paulie from Rocky, and that's what most people would know him from, basically. And hey, we got Muhammad in the live motherfucking chat right now. Hey, Muhammad, great to see you, man. I'm gonna toast you a puff in a moment here, buddy. Great to see you. Thank you for checking on in tonight. Killmonger says
This awkward moment between Carmela and the priest.
Yep, because they didn't fuck. It's weird. Right. Yeah, exactly. Killmonger just sent in the live chat. And make sure if you have the live chat open, Matt, you see where it says top chat. Does it say top? Yeah. Click down that arrow and click on live chat, and you'll see the words that aren't the cursey words that YouTube deems that you're not allowed to see. So Killmonger says it's weird Carmela and the father act like they fucked.
I see it now.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah, it is weird they act like they fucked. It's Killmonger. You're absolutely fucking true. They do.
I think they did. I mean, as far as a Catholic priest goes, that's like how you can fucking still keep your job.
Yeah. He went to third base if you consider that for priesthood. So I love the respect that Tony gives Bacala Sr. that he never gives Bacala Jr.
Well, and we find out throughout the course of the show that the only reason Bacala has this gig to begin with is because he was born into it. We find out in the last season that he's never actually killed anyone. Remember, Tony makes him do his first
kill, yeah,
as punishment for beating Tony, like for
beating him in a fight.
Tony down or something.
Yeah, beating him in Soprano home movies. It's. And Junior, you can see how Junior like looks at him with this level of respect and almost adulation of being one of the toughest guys he knew. So when seeing him like this, it's a real fucking blow. And that's the other side of this. Another thing we haven't even talked about yet. Junior's dealing with a cancer diagnosis himself, and
Junior dealing with a cancer diagnosis. Junior's the whole power dynamic between him and Tony, the way he lies to Bobby because he's trying to save face.
Yep. Absolutely. And the way that
and Junior, despite the lawsuit going on, that he's in addition to that, this is now like lets him know he just feels weaker because of it. That's the thing. He knows Tony has such an upper hand at this point because he realizes how boxed in he is in this episode. Right. This is Junior starting to go like almost not come out of the fog, but really understand where he's at. And this is the episode that just never ends with storylines and interesting stuff, because I also want to point out that Janice quotes Livia in something that you almost feel like in Another Time all the Soprano kids, including Junior, would laugh about this. Another toothpick, just like Junior's been there laughing about that. But they don't say this, but the look that Janice and Tony give each other is almost like Junior used to make this joke. Like, I read that. I'm headcanoning that, but I'm pretty sure that fucking happened. And yeah, it's tough. I mean, again, I feel like I'm always getting too personal in these Soprano casts, but even where Junior is in that, once you hear that word, having got that diagnosis before, and you hear that C word from your doctor, you get in your head. And then every time you see a movie or a TV show or fuck someone you know that's sick in front of you, like, at least for me, because I'm a fucking paranoid person like Junior is, it just drives you fucking crazy. It's like you can't help but think about it. You hear how many times on television and every infomercial says that word, and you just like hear it every time. It's like a fucking glowing energy ball, and Junior plays that really well in this whole entire episode. Killmonger, I was gonna say the same thing. Like, this is one of the hottest she looks, and that ugly ass tiger dress is such. She looks so cheap and trashy in it, but yeah. And there's Artie thinking he has a shot. Right there, that kiss on the cheek was like all he needed.
I mean, is Artie this dumb?
Listen, he was flashing that money they made for a reason. He is that dumb. He's sitting there showing her, hey, look how much money we made. She gave him a kiss on the cheek.
He is that dumb. No, and I guess in the moment you work with someone 2 or 3 years, you're seeing things that you aren't completely sure are there.
Yeah, and you don't realize that you're completely unattractive.
Yeah, and bald. And obviously,
and they all, Phil, they do such a great job of Junior just slowly over episode after episode after episode, slowly losing his mental faculties.
For real.
There's that hint right there where he's not with it in the game of checkers, but then he immediately is like, fine. You know what I mean? He's back in character.
Stop speaking in anagrams. But Artie, the other thing with the Artie and Adriana thing is you get a feeling, or I get a feeling anyways, that because the family that Adriana grew up in, having Richie as her uncle, and in that family, she wants to be dating a made guy. Like she's not just dating Christopher just because of that. But I think Artie, beyond being married and old and bald and goofy, I think she's attracted to the fact that it's why she almost hooks up with Tony at one point in time. Like people can read that scene any way you want. She was gonna fuck Tony that night. That was happening.
Yeah, if Tony like made it happen, it would have happened.
It would have happened. It would have. Tony had his window there. He was right. When he says to Mil, I should have fucked her anyway.
Fuck what he wants. I'm still the boss of this family.
Is Junior the... Yes, Teo, I love you. Teo says, yes, Artie is that dumb.
He is.
And that's a question for people, anyone watching this at any time in the comment section. Is Artie really this dumb enough, or is he that unhappy with Charmaine that he's seeing things that aren't there? Is it more the second thing? Like when he breaks down to Tony later in the episode and he's like, my wife, she's a con. Is it more that, or is it more he actually thinks Adriana likes him?
He thinks that Adriana is into guys for material ways, and he shows her how much money he made that night. She probably knows that he's trying to go into business with Tony. He's flashing all the right things that he thinks she's into, which she's not. And not to mention, Christopher, not necessarily a good-looking guy.
Best of the Soprano bunch. Furio, maybe. Furio or Christopher, right? And Teo. We have a girl. For the first time. My audience over here is like 90% dude, and we actually have a woman in the. Is Christopher the most attractive of the Soprano guys? And we'll wait. We'll wait for a response. No, you're.
Does Jackie Jr. count? Because Jackie Jr. is like actually a good-looking guy.
Yeah, I guess Jackie Jr. counts. Maybe. Does Adi Bucco? I think Adi Bucco's the answer. CJ Ritchie says Artie might be my favorite character because he's such a goof, but he's that likable. It's because he brings such fucking honesty to that role and such little touches in acting, having got like theater school crap, like business. He's always doing business with his hands. He's never not doing something. Even in this hand, look at his hands. Look at the little touches. Like they're so fucking natural and real. Killmonger says no homo, but Tony's the most attractive.
That's not true.
It's the charm. It's the we're talking about in Soprano.
It's the power and the charm.
In Soprano world, who is the most attractive of the group?
By the way, we just skipped over an important part of the episode, which is when.
What's that? Tell us about it.
It's when Tony says, "I'm having him do it," and
yes.
Junior says, "No,
I'm still the boss of this family.
You don't want." He goes, "I'm still,
This isn't the
he
Navy."
Says, no, I'm making it Gigi. It's Gigi's call. He reached out to him. The reason we're sending him is he's the only one that can get to him and knows where he is.
And I'll get to Teo's response in a moment here. I just want to get into this scene that Christopher, everything we know about Christopher, he shows immense restraint in this scene.
He does.
Immense restraint. He lets Artie get away with a lot.
If Artie's not Tony's best friend right here,
Christopher fucking kills him quickly. Yeah. He goes all Joe Pesci and Goodfellas on Billy Bats.
See, he's talking to him the same exact way that that Steve Buscemi talks to him when they're out busting balls. You know what I mean? Like that's how he's acting. But he's not going to put a fork up to Steve Buscemi's neck.
Christopher's a made fucking guy now, though, and he needs to. And I love how Tony's just watching this whole situation. It's great.
And Tony knows that Artie's crossing the line.
Oh yeah.
That's why he's not actually mad at Christopher at any point.
No, he's not. He's actually proud of Christopher. I think. Yeah. I think this makes Tony or have more respect for Christopher being a leader later, because this is before he goes against the fact that. His goal is to have Christopher become the on the field boss when he's behind this. Yeah,
this
is amazing.
Slap. Yeah,
this is amazing. And Johnny V has talked about this scene. Tony really hit, or James Gandolfini really hit him as many takes as it was, and then he'd kiss him on the cheek. He'd hit him and then kiss him on the cheek. Hit him and then kiss him on the cheek. So we're going to get to these comments in a second because I think I agree with Killmonger, and I agree with what Teo said as well from the opposite end. Teo says, as this is like, you big dumb idiot, don't say this to anybody. We're talked a lot about this scene, and we'll talk about it again, but this is basically Tony's
the way he puts his head together. That's like an affectionate thing. Like, you tell me an other person in this show he does that with, where he just take his head and put it like
AJ.
That. Like, that's a friend. Exactly. That's it.
AJ.
It's AJ.
AJ. That's the only other person we see him. Not even Christopher, not Buscemi, not even really Meadow too. I mean, his kids.
Yeah, but like that's how much he actually loves Artie. That's like there's an intimate. I mean, as much as like Tony's gonna be like intimate with a guy. What I mean is like that's just a letting your guard down sort of thing.
Now Teo says
Right there.
Furio is the sexiest. Christopher is the most handsome. And I see that. I can definitely see that. Killmonger says Charmaine is the most attractive of the older wives. I don't know. Rosalie, Matt's dog is pretty dang hot. Rosalie Aprio.
If you haven't been here before and heard this, my dog is actually named Rosalie Aprio.
Right. So anytime I say Matt's dog, I'm talking about Rosie. So Rosie's definitely up there. I mean, all of the Soprano wives. I think there's more of a selection from the argument of the most attractive woman on The Sopranos is a deeper conversation rather than the dudes. And the dudes, you only really have a couple of choices. You only really have Christopher, and if we're talking about the regulars, you only really have Christopher and Furio.
And the maid guys, sure.
Right. I mean, if you want to go to Jackie Jr. or what's his name, the two Bevilacqua and fucking C there. The other those
or Benny even
or Benny. I guess Benny. You could say
Benny's
Benny.
not attractive. He's you know.
Some girls like the Vinny Del Pino. Come on, Vinny.
Dude, no girl likes a guy who got his ass kicked.
Killmonger. Carmela's my answer. I find something really attractive about Edie Falco.
Yeah, he's got a thing for Carmela.
I've got a thing for Edie Falco. I really do. No, I have a thing for Carmela. You're right. It's not Edie Falco. It's Carmela. But Charmaine and Rosie are both beautiful. Yeah, like Teo said. Charmaine and Rosie are fire. So I love that. I fucking love that line. They point that out in the Talk of Sopranos too. But I love that he never comes empty-handed because everybody... This is, again, I keep talking about these things. What The Sopranos does almost better than any other show is having real-life business in The Sopranos world. Everybody knows that person that, you know, your parents have said this about one of their friends, or they're always bringing a bottle of wine. That person never comes empty-handed. I've said that about people, especially in an Italian household. You're growing up on with the Italian side of my family. They never come without a ziti. You know, my Aunt Rosemarie never came without a ziti, or no, it was manicotti. Excuse me, manicotti. Never came without a manigut.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's pronounced manigut, Phil.
Manigut, sorry. Jackie Jr. and Chippendale Wibistic Boys band. I love that. Chippendale's Wibistic.
Not
the
other one.
Let me finish her comment though. We're cute, but they're children. No grown ass woman wants that. Or I added ass. No grown woman wants that.
No, you're right though. The kid that's with Bevilacqua, the one that dies.
Yeah, the one that it's all his idea. It was all V. No, he says his name like 10 times when he's about to be killed. Oh God!
He's just killing the scene.
It's another underrated performance by Burt Young. I mean, there's a lot of big performances I probably don't know about. Is him in Back to School, because he plays such a different kind of character than Uncle Paulie. He plays Rodney Dangerfield's bodyguard, the guy that's with him through the whole movie. That's his buddy. He wears the chauffeur's hat. He's basically. In the whole entire movie, every scene that Rodney Dangerfield's there, he's in it. He's in as well. Watch Back to School again soon, Matt. And
he doesn't act a lot anymore. He paints is his thing. Like he's like a painter.
And I would argue that he's one of those actors that doesn't act. He's so real with his performances. It doesn't feel like acting to me when Burt Young's doing it. Even if it's happy birthday, Polly. Happy birthday. He had sex with a robot in Rocky just for the art. He was an early adopter of the real dolls. And
what is wrong with you?
What is wrong? Vodka.
Bobby storming out of the room is the most.
Is crying and crying. He's never cried. What is your take on this one? And people in the chat, in the comment section, what he says right there in that moment. He wants to do it. He stops Junior from making a big stink. I want to feel alive again. And if I go out and I don't make it, I'm dead anyway. What the fuck's it matter? Do you think if you knew you were dying for something, would you want to go out your way like that, or would you want to preserve?
Part of it is just feeling like he's got to feel useless at this point. His body's completely betrayed him, inside and out. I'm assuming his wife is
gone.
Dead, gone, not in his life at all, because we never hear about her or see her. So yeah, I mean, what else does he get to do? He gets to go out,
doing what he loves, or which is
doing what he loves, being useful, I guess.
which is so.
And honestly, who the hell wants to, dude? If your options are doing, or like the way he's living right now, following that to its inevitable conclusion is like, I can't think of anything more tragic than that.
Yeah.
Like just coughing up blood till you literally die.
Till you choke. I mean, and I guess the way he does kind of go when he is in that sense of he does choke on, but he goes in a very celebratory kind of way.
And it's quick, and that's the thing. Like lying in bed by yourself, letting that is like.
So Matt, talk a little bit about Artie in the scene. This is leading up to them maybe getting a divorce eventually. It's Artie is wanting to go into business with Tony. They want to get his food into a frozen food line without calling it Vesuvius, because V makes you think about vagina. Now, the only reason I say bullshit on that is we know a restaurant called Vesuvius. Have a good night, Cam. Thank you for checking on in with us tonight, and thank you for leaving that like and hanging out for a bit. We appreciate everyone that's checking in and out on a Wednesday evening with us tonight for The Sopranos. It's good to be back with Matt, and thank you those that checked out last week's St. Patrick Swayze Day celebration that I had. That YouTube blocked the video, but it was a good time for those of you that were able to join me. I'll be right back, Matt. I have to run to the boys' room. Take it over and talk about the.
Yeah, Guguts. I'm all in.
You got it, Guguts.
So we see right here Ralphie being an absolute royal asshole the way he always is, calling him Cappy. I want to Phil. I'm like trying to get Phil's feedback on this. We're gonna sit here quietly and just watch this for a second. And this was one of the things that Tony was bitching about when Johnny Sack moved to New Jersey, was that suddenly Johnny Sack was going to be around all the time.
What's he gonna do? Come the guy to death?
Anybody ask for your input?
No, I'm just saying. You should let me do it.
Do you think? No, Ralphie, you're just and Ralphie's a little fucking rat douche. He went to Johnny Sack and cried to Johnny Sack about this.
Well, no, and this is one of the things where Johnny Sack was putting his 2 cents, and I just said this before you came back, was like, that's why Tony didn't want him here, as he knows that Johnny, like, why is Johnny getting involved with this stuff at all?
Yeah, I'm not gonna poke in. Of course you are, you fucking rat. Teo says it's his Doctor Strangelove moment. I'd prefer to ride a nuke into the ground than die face down in the applesauce.
Yep.
Yeah, I could not agree more. I'm the same way.
Now that's what I'm picturing is with the cowboy hat on going down.
So Tony contacted his dude, the congressman, and got this assemblyman, and he got this guy demoted his overtime got taken away, and now Tony goes there and talks shit. Tony's a fucking asshole, and then
all that Tony asked for was the ticket to be dealt with.
Yeah, this guy's a rat. This guy caused too many trouble around the office, so they use it as an opportunity. And I fucking love, like, Tony's such a hypocritical asshole, and ultimately he feels bad about all of this. Why does he feel bad, Matt? Why do you think Tony in the end feels bad about this?
Because he knows the guy was just doing his job, and like, obviously the fact that he's working here, he's a hardworking guy. Like, he has a second job, he's willing to do that. And he knows that the guy, like, doesn't have power here, which he does have power in his daily life, enough power to get him a ticket.
It's kind of
he's getting, like,
to your point.
He's right there. It's like some kid half his age is like, telling him to take his lunch break.
Yeah, I think it's at that moment where Tony starts to feel bad about it. Once that dude comes over and asks him about the lunch break.
Yeah. And he knows the guy's like a hardworking, probably honest, straight up guy, which there's parts of Tony that respect those things, because in their world, you actually need a lot of that as well. Tony wouldn't like a moocher or someone who wasn't doing work or wasn't hard work.
Yeah, and I think Tony also, to your point, respects the balls that this guy had to not stand down from his stance with him too this whole time. Sure. He's keeping his no, fuck you. I don't care who you are. You were wrong.
In the moment, he's annoyed by who the fuck is this guy giving me a ticket? But then afterwards,
Yeah, and this is where he Tony's like, come on, get this guy's job back.
Yeah, Tony, if you think about it, think about like the cop that used to help him out, the degenerate gambler,
Kevin McAllister's
dad.
father.
Like,
Yeah.
he never had respect for Kevin McAllister's dad whatsoever. He had no respect for him. The guy was like in his mind, a degenerate gambler who was like selling out the cops,
And
like a sleazebag.
And remember, after he died, he met that was his hooker or something like that, and she's like, he thought of you as a friend, and Tony's like, oh, what a pathetic dude. He's just like,
Right.
He's so embarrassed by this guy thinking that he was his friend.
Tony can't have a lot of respect for like cops that are on the take. You know what I mean? He needs them in his life, and he appreciates it.
But he respects someone being a straight shooter. Some part of him wants to be Kevin Finnery. As we get to a later date in time,
yeah,
he wants to be that guy.
I'm old school, Janice. Like there's that old, that.
So here
the scene from the Columbus Day episode, like whatever happened to the strong silence, just the Gary Cooper.
Okay, excuse me.
Bullshit. From
this point on to the end of the episode, or this little section in the middle of this episode, is unfucking believable. The way this all kind of takes place, the whole setup of it all is it's just really fucking awesome. And Burt Young kills this. The joy that he takes in it, and if you have any doubts about the assholery of Mustang Sally, like,
oh yeah, he sells it.
He sells it.
Not that anyone at this point here feels bad for Mustang Sally, but he overdoes it to the point where he couldn't even give a genuine apology.
I'm surprised he didn't have someone locked in his closet too. Like, and abusing him in the closet.
You should do yourself a favor. Quit while you're young.
I love that.
Hey, fuck asshole, take the shit out of here.
Burt Young kills it as he cases this place, and honestly would have got away with it if it wasn't for that stinking kid.
Yeah.
And I understand why he did it, but grabbing the cigarettes at the end too. After he does this, smoking the cigarette doesn't help the situation out.
No, it's great. Like, again, that's perfect. He, in his mind, I think if you were to like retroactively talk to him after this is over and say, "Are you happy the way you went out?" He'd be like, "Hell, 100%. Like, I couldn't have asked her a better way."
Yeah, that driving home, listening to
with a cigarette. His last thing having a cigarette.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. That.
I'm sorry, Uncle Bobby. Anything, whatever Tony Soprano wants me to do.
And this guy is such a shithead. He can't help but make one more little comment. This is Killmonger. This may be the Ralphie kill. This or the Ralphie kill, I think, are the two best kills. The Richie one's good, but it's edited a little weird. But I'd say this one or the Ralphie kill are some of the more brutal, like where you really see it in the scene. There's a couple of other shocking ones that come up. The pussy
and
one.
Those are both. This one and the Ralphie are very intimate. They're two people like in each other's faces, on top of each other, like fighting for their lives.
Yeah, in a very real, two real humans in a real struggle for their life. The Sopranos home movie fight has a similar vibe to it as well, and it's probably the best acting that Steve Schirripa does in that particular.
But that's
episode.
not for their lives. That's the difference. No one's
I think Tony at one point seems like he's about to fucking kill him. And
that scene in we'll talk about it. The hell's the movie? Saving Private Ryan, when Adam Goldberg dies.
Yeah,
that's another scene where they're like, it's that close between two people.
So he shoots him there, and then doesn't quite get him. Then he gets perfect shot on that dude, and then this is amazing that he gets out of this. This is so real, so intense.
Well, that's the thing, because Mustang Sally has to hold him down with one hand.
Yeah, he can't let go. Yeah, it's just a fucking sick fucking moment. Oh no! Oh fuck! And he gets him. Yes. Like I know I'm cheering.
Just barely. Like it looks like he's almost gonna shoot his hand off.
I know I'm like cheering for something horrible here, but how good must Mr. Bacala feel right here? And then in this moment too, no, Mr. Bacala, please.
Why does he call him Mr. Bacala?
I don't know.
So stupid.
It's cheesy as fuck, but it works. Come on. Please no.
And part of that for him is he's felt so weak for so long. That's his last like power. He's just like, you got anything to say to me, like piece of shit. He hasn't done this in 8 years.
No, and it's the first time he's for again, it's such a fucked up parallel. The first time he's felt alive in so long is killing somebody. And then he's driving home. You see the cops rolling in, so he made it out of there. He's done this 100 times, and he made out scot-free.
Ripping the butt, loving it.
Ripping the butt. I don't want to and I know he's not thinking straight in this moment. He's having a cough. He should have just pulled over once he started coughing and to get his inhaler. Not that it would have helped in the moment, but I mean, I guess you can't pull over on the fucking New Jersey Turnpike or wherever the fuck.
Right, like he's not really a place to do it, and he's covered in blood, so like he can't let anyone draw attention to him.
And I'm starting to get like Junior here. Well, how did he die? Did he die from the cancer? Did he die from the car accident?
Right.
Did he choke?
Is it the inhaler? Was it that cigarettes? Did he die from the cigarettes?
And then it's all because of Junior's superstition. Like all the credit I'm giving Junior, it's all about Junior having superstition about people dying in threes. He's like, oh shit, I need this guy to die too. Damn. All the fuck. Yeah. Junior gets all the best lines. How do you think Steve does in this episode? How do you think Bobby does in this episode?
I can't take him seriously when he's still wearing the fat suit.
I think
you can tell he is there.
I think he's okay. I think he gets better as the show goes on. I think every season, every moment he's on the show, he gets a little better. I think he's better in Pine Barrens than he is in this episode. He's not bad. He doesn't take away from the episode.
No, he doesn't, and he's also the only one of these guys that you would actually ever see break down and cry like that. Yeah. Like Ralphie doesn't cry like that. Tony doesn't cry like that.
He pulls off being a very genuine guy on screen, in ways that.
Oh, and if he wasn't born to his father, he would never be in this business. This isn't who he is at all.
And in fairness, compared to someone like Silvio, Steve Van Zandt, fucking Junior. This is the most off kilter we see Junior. But compared to Steve Van Zandt, they give Bobby a lot more to do. If we're talking about like the main actors that don't have the most,
yeah,
like they give Bobby a lot of shit to do. Like
his share of screen time only goes up every single season.
Yeah.
From till the end, till he's a huge part of the last season.
Sil, we'll have to keep an eye on it, but Sil seemingly is only in the show a fraction of what I remember. Yeah, on this rewatch.
He's such a main part of it, but he's not even in this episode once.
No.
Everyone else is in this episode except for him.
No.
Even Meadows here at the end.
And even when he's in, sometimes he's just in the background going like this.
I'm going to admit, I think Charmaine's hot right here.
Charmaine's gorgeous. I think the actress herself too, like when you see her off, like her personality is really cute. She's a really beautiful girl. And do you think that Charmaine has an attitude about everything because she feels like, and we've talked about this before, she's cocky about, she's the one that turned Tony Soprano down. She could have that whole life if she wanted to. That's why she gives Artie that, like, you don't get it. I could have been Carmela. And so I understand this world a bit more than you do. I understand Tony on a level that even you don't understand because he was grooming me to be his wife. And I don't know.
But I don't think she wants part of that. I think
no, she doesn't.
She's ended up with, but she also knows. Listen, she also knows if they start selling Satriali's sauces that they're going to get violated, and Tony's going to take a huge chunk of the money out of it. When he talks about that's his plan, is start selling shit with Tony.
Should I do a bikini video of her? I think we all know the answer to that, celebrity bikini. I don't think I need to respond to
Good
that.
luck finding that or making that.
Yes. If you do, links will be appreciated for educational purposes only, of course.
And again, the perfect amount of AJ in an episode.
Yeah. No. This is and I've said this before, this is my favorite era of AJ. He's grown up, so he's not a little kid completely. He's not to his Slipknot era quite yet. I mean, yeah, he's wearing Slipknot, but you know what I mean, like the skinny Fredo Soprano, Wasme era. Fossil fuels suck, AJ. Like I don't know. fucking hippie AJ.
That's it, and he's done, and we don't see AJ again for the rest of the episode. It's perfect.
Matt loves it. Someone mentioned, it might have been Oakley in a question, that the guys from the Talking Sopranos were talking about the episode Fortunate Son, which was the AJ episode we watched a couple of weeks ago, where you and I were harder on that episode because it was AJ centric. But the guys from Talking Soprano were saying, oh, what a great job he did as an actor, and wondering like why. And I was saying because they know him.
Is that the football one?
I believe so. Yeah, that was the Jackie Jr. AJ episode. And I think part of that is because, and I mentioned this in a comment back, was I think it's harder when you know someone to be critical of them as an actor. And yeah, I think they could be biased talking about the actor that plays AJ, to be like, he's good. Because I think, say what you want, in all respect to him, you know, he retired, he doesn't act anymore. He played the character okay, but he's not one of the better actors on the show. Yes. Teo. May we discuss the fact that Satriel's sauce has Emil's DNA and a lot of other DNA in it. Ralphie's DNA. Not Ralphie. Eventually Ralphie's. Richie's DNA too, right? That they come and pick up Richie's body and cut him up with the Satriel.
I think they do, and then at some point they're like, "Yeah, we're not going to do that anymore."
No, yeah, we're not eating.
I think what the line is when they don't do it.
It's Christopher says, "I'm not eating at Satriel's for a long time." I think that's what it is. Oh, here it is where Junior says these things come in threes. You fucking idiot. I love this part. Tony, the look on Tony's face. Looking at him like that. I'm going to start doing this more till I get flagged. I don't give a fuck. But
Jesus Christ. I'm serious, Anthony, what I said. Promise me you'll do
they have such great chemistry together. We don't talk about this often. Like Junior is amazing on his own. Tony's amazing on their own. They're all good with other people. But until Junior loses his mind, then it becomes sadder or whatever. But in these first 3 seasons and part of season 4, I live for the Junior and Tony scenes. The two of them have such extremely excellent chemistry, as well as he does with Edie or
and one of Phil's favorite things in this show, favorite relationships, is these two as a brother and sister.
Oh, they're perfect. And
this is a great scene of it. They're just shit-faced reminiscing about stupid shit.
And I've joked about this before in passive points of like the way that, aside from some of the toxic elements, the closeness aspect of the relationship that Janice and Tony have are not dissimilar to maybe a relationship that you have with Michelle, and like straight crazy like friendship level. And what I mean by that is, if you found out someone told you that you both knew and were very close, that someone said, "I'm sick, don't tell anybody," your first call would probably be to Michelle to be like, "Oh, did you know that?
Yeah.
Did you know that?"
There's a level of comfort and shared experience with that person that they have. They're here talking about like so-and-so dying and so-and-so dying and so-and-so dying, and they have been through all of that together. And there's no one else on the face of the earth except for their sister Barbara who has been through those things with them. There's no one else left that's experienced that. And Michelle has had the experiences that I've had that no one else in our life has, because we've moved through all these houses together when we were kids.
And I believe in the Sopranos world, it's reversed, but if I'm correct, you're like basically a calendar year older than her, and I think Janice is supposed to be about maybe a calendar or 2 years older than Tony. Yeah. Like they're around the same age, so it's a very similar. Like, and again, minus all she's amazing. She has nothing. There's zero similarities between Janice and Michelle.
My sister and Janice. Yeah,
not even close. You're more like Janice and Tony than she. She's a sweetheart, straight up sweetheart.
But so that's the thing. As much as he hates Janice, as much as Janice drives him crazier more than anyone else in the entire world, this is the person he's sitting there talking about that.
He is the person he couldn't wait to call, and
no one else he could call. Who else is he going to say Uncle June has cancer to?
Maybe Carmela, but like Carmela hates Junior in this timeline at this point.
And what a weird question that was right there. What happened to Sal?
Yeah.
To Pussy. Oh yeah, she's finding Jesus right now. That's right.
Oh, this is the we're leading into She Has Risen. So Janice knows that what that means is dead because that's what he says about Richie too. Like when people ask about Richie, he's in witness protection. So,
Right.
I think Janice understands what Tony means by that. So we hear Jamie Lynn singing, which she
Well,
prized.
do you remember the story that when she first auditioned for the show, she thought it was about singers?
Yep, a couple
Shows
people-
about people who were Sopranos.
Yeah, a few people did, but she really did because she was a singer type person. Is this? Oh, is this when this is where the lamp is going to her school? So it's already packed. The lamp is upstairs now. This is
We
one.
need some more racism first before the.
Oh, we definitely do. There's Tony needs to show himself to be a racist piece of shit here for like.
They used bolt cutters. Some black guy from the neighborhood. One of the other kids saw him.
And then the look Tony gives on his face, like what the fuck, Tony?
Well, and the look that Meadow gives her mom too. Why did you have to say black guy?
Because
you know what you're doing when you say that word.
Yeah, do you know why, Matt? Because when it really comes down to it, Carmela is just as bad as Tony. Like she is just as fucking racist as Tony.
No,
She just knows how to hold it in
I'm
better.
100% with you, but I would think that Carmela would try to avoid driving more confrontation between those two by bringing it up.
She loves it. She fucking loves it because Carmela's a sick fucking prick, and she loves the opportunity to have Meadow on her side for the first time in her life. Like usually Meadow is always on Tony's side and saying fuck Carmela, and it's always a war between the two of them, and she's a daddy's girl. Now for the very first time, Carmela is the one that's the Meadow whisperer, and she loves it. She loves that Meadow gives Tony this heap of shit. She's enjoying this. I think she's enjoying it because she can't fight Tony like this. So that I think Carmela is evil enough to enjoy them fighting.
Wait a second. Where you going with that lamp? I'm taking it. Halogenatic gives me a headache.
And I love how didn't they just hear that they're taking the lamp? Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason in my memory, it was they discovered it when it was already in the dorm room. Carmela looks great there as well. Oh, I forgot about.
Oh God,
I
I was
forg-
like, I checked how much time was left. I'm like, what comes after
Does
that?
he?
This
Does he? He
awkwardness.
really tries? Why did I blank in my mind that he actually tries here?
Yeah, he's got the earring.
Is that an earring? Your ear. I never noticed before.
Do you think she's humoring him or unaware completely?
I think she's not that bright. I think she thinks of Artie as a father figure.
Of what? We're friends.
So she thinks it's okay to go out with him. Although, I don't know, I'm wondering why she wouldn't tell. I think that if that run-in between Artie and Christopher hadn't happened the other night, that she might even tell Christopher she's going out.
I
with
think
him.
she
That's how unweird she thinks it is.
I think she realizes it right there. I'd never noticed that before.
Of course.
Like he puts his hand on hers. I think right there is when she starts like, okay, I get this. Fuck. And Teo from the last scene, facts. Don't underestimate Carmela's personality disorder. Yes. Thank you, Teo. I agree. Like you can't. She has issues.
Oh my God, Artie.
No, pun intended.
The kids?
But then it makes sense right here. She gets it. She's sensitive to the fact that he's getting a divorce and doesn't sort of break his balls for him trying a move there because he does it respectfully to a certain extent. It's not like he's like here, I got a key. Let's go fuck in the hotel room.
But I also don't understand what the fuck is he thinking? Like what does he think is going to happen here?
I don't know. That's where we come down to.
Does he think she's gonna leave Christopher to go be with him? And like, even if she did, which one of them gets killed first, her or him?
I don't
Like,
know what
even-
this is. Is it the beginning of it or is it the middle of it? It's all of it. Artie, you're talking about. We're dealing with. Artie's not bright, or Artie is.
I know, but by the time you're in your mid 40s, you like
I
I'm
know-
that age, Phil. I know better. Like
I
maybe
know
when
better
I was in my 20s, I thought I had a shot. I was like
Dude,
way out of my league. Like,
I'm
knows
saying
better?
this not for like wolf. I'm same age as you. Recently divorced. I wouldn't be this fucking stupid.
I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah,
I'm saying
like-
by this age, you know better.
Yeah, I know better. Remember our discussion we were having before the show started? Like I would not.
Right.
You
But
know,
you also know, like, at a certain point, you realize, like, dude, I'm an old guy to women that are that age. Like,
Yeah.
you realize that at a certain point.
yeah, and I mentioned that before, and if they're interested, they'll make it known to you, so you don't have to feel like an idiot. But they'll be like, they'll understand that, be smart enough to know that you would feel awkward, and be like, dude, I'm interested in you, so you don't have to feel awkward, and make the effort. Because otherwise, you're creepy Uncle Artie, and you don't fucking do that shit, because it's fucking
Not creepy
creepy.
Uncle Artie.
He's creepy Uncle Artie.
They got little hookers giving little blowjobs.
So Johnny Sack.
I'm gonna go take a leak.
I guess they didn't miss an opportunity with Johnny Sack to make him a villain, because he was always kind of a shady. This is the height of him trying to just be a snorer and be in there all the time, making sure the Sopranos don't hog all this Esplanade money. Skazool.
Looking into his case.
Killmonger says Tony's more normal than Carmela. In some ways, he's more aware of the person he is. And more through his psychology, through his work with Melfi, is kind of worked through his issues, even if he chooses to ignore it a little bit more than Carmela does. Carmela's a lot more boxed in and in denial, and it has this almost delusional. Is delusional. She's a delusional person and not aware of anything really, and just kind of does her thing and survives. I don't know. Carmela might be, you're right. Tony may be more normal than Carmela when it comes down to it. Matt looks like he disagrees, but
No, I've always thought that you give Carmela a bad rap. And
I'm not giving her a
still
bad
on
rap.
that team.
No, I'm not giving her a bad rap. I'm giving the character a great rap for having more. Maybe I'm projecting more depth than I think than really exists. But to me, it's more of a compliment as a character, not an insult of her as a person.
This is so incredible because you have no idea right now if Junior actually remembers he's supposed to be going to the wake or not. You have no idea.
All of this works even better, to your point, Matt, on a rewatch, knowing where Junior's endgame is. Because in the first watch, you could think that it's your imagination that you're seeing Junior slowly lose his mind. But
Like right now, did he legitimately just say, "Oh, I have cancer, I'm not
right,
going"?
or is he distracted because of his cancer and he's having a social anxiety moment that he doesn't want to be out there because he knows Tony probably told people?
What do you think? I don't give a shit? What am I supposed to think?
Meanwhile, he's just trying to watch the show behind him too,
Yeah, he's just trying to,
which is such a I'm losing my faculties move, you know?
which ultimately ends up with him seeing Curb Your Enthusiasm and thinking he's on Curb Your
Right? Oh my God, it's the best. That's the most meta thing this show ever does.
What the
It's so
fuck?
brilliant.
What the fuck are we doing on the TV?
Yeah.
Poor Bobby. I don't know why I said poor Bobby, not Junior here, but
Because all Junior wants to do is watch the show. That's someone who's losing his mind.
yeah, he's like, because he can't concentrate on the moment, and he basically will say anything, even admit that he has cancer here, and just so he can watch the soap
it's
opera.
bullshit. He's trying to say, "Oh, I really want to go see your dad, but I can't." But then, this.
Oh yeah, right back to relaxing. Hey, he says in this episode he's still the boss. Is Junior smart enough at this point to legitimately think that he knows the score, right? He says that to save face in front of people, and Bobby, he doesn't really think he's really the boss. He knows Tony's the boss, right?
I think there's a concession to him when he says I have cancer.
Yeah.
I think if he's really trying to hold on to that, he never tells Tony he has cancer because he knows right then.
But yeah, he wants to feel like that's in his power for his own health reasons. He's finally just letting Tony officially be the guy on the street here. And I missed kind of what they talk about there at the end. Is that basically he told Tony to fuck off one more time? In that last scene?
Yeah, he tries to give him... Tony told the assemblyman, nah, fuck him. And then he shows up there and just tries to give him a few hundred, what's the word? Some scuttle?
Skazuli or no, whatever one side, yeah.
Whatever it is. He tries to give him some money and he won't take it.
So that is the end of the episode. Ends on a really fun song and a fun moment and a fun edit with Tony and some good visuals. I love this episode of The Sopranos. It gets better almost every time I watch it. It's so thick and layered, and it's part of what I also call the overabundance of violence trilogy that we have here with last week's episode, or last time we talked episode, with the Milfy scene. Then we have this episode with this Burt Young.
Yeah.
And then next time in the 2 weeks when we're back, we got the episode University, which I haven't watched in a long time. And I remember that being...
I don't remember what it is.
I remember it being one of the more brutal episodes. The next episode is the episode that we have the parallels between Meadow and the stripper that's the same age working at the Bing, which...
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's the next episode?
Yeah, the 3 episodes in a row are...
And it's Pine Barrens must be right after that, then.
Yeah, I think there's one more than Pine Barrens. After that.
That's a brutal episode.
I think there's a Jackie Jr. episode and then Pine Barrens.
And you can see them really building up in this episode what a D-bag Ralphie is.
Yes.
That's...
Yes. And they're setting that all up to show you what maybe makes him different than some of these other D-bags and why he's even more quote unquote dangerous. And I think also in these 3 episodes, they really try to push the Sopranos for don't fall in love with these guys. These are violent. This is a vicious, violent world. You know you really like, and what basically David Chase initially did in the episode College, not University, where we see our main character in the 5th episode, 4th episode, whatever it was, basically murder a guy. And HBO, the one time HBO executives ever gave David Chase a note, which was, you've made the most lovable, likable, whatever television character, I'm paraphrasing, television character in the last 20 years in Tony Soprano, and you're going to have him murder some guy in cold blood in the scene. And that's why HBO's concession in that episode, College, which is from season 1, to make that guy more detestable, was David Chase had to add a scene where that you see that the guy is selling drugs to make him slightly even a bad person, because he being in the mafia and being whacked wasn't enough. So they added the scene where you show that he's like selling meth to people around town and using them just to make sure you knew he was a bad guy. You know, so but that was one of those moments. But I think since that point, and especially here in season 3, when the narrative had changed because we lost our
your girlfriend,
my girlfriend Livia, losing that character, David Chase decided to make some points this season. And I think point number 1 is starting the season off with that friggin' weird cop episode, fucked expectations. That's number 1, where you're not always going to get what you want. Last week's episode with not having Milfy tell Tony, and almost setting up the finale last week with spoiled expectations of shit to happen. Yeah. And then move on to this week's episode where you see even more violence, see how someone, even a sick man, you could just see, or seeing how what happens with Mustang Sally, just seeing the casual violence in this world, eating the Whitman's sampler with the dude in the fucking hospital all fucking broke up.
Giving him the Lee Trevino off his head, like the whole scene with
the whole scene. And then next week where we basically see one of our main characters brutally beat a young girl to death. So it's a happy time in the Sopranos world right now, but it's even more a happy time to be here with you, Matt. And I can't wait to get back next week and continue our,
Are we doing next week or are we doing 2 weeks?
2 weeks. And get into this episode. A couple of little factoidy kind of things. Let's see if there's anything interesting here at the end, in all of these. Real life stores, Fountain of Wayne, where Tony runs into Wilmore, has gone out of business. The store was referenced last season when Corrado learned that Bobby Ciferato was seen buying a statue there. Another Toothpick, Carmela says she's going shopping, filed for bankruptcy, but whatever. Actress Marie Donatello appears at Uncle Febby's funeral, just as she appeared at Livy's funeral earlier in the season, playing a character credited as 2 to 5 / 7 to 9. Avi Santo notes in his essay Fat Fuck that in the inverted value systems of the Soprano mobsters, being overweight is a sign of health and vivacity, contrary to accepted medical wisdom. So you want to be bigger in the Sopranos.
Right. That the whole idea of being a toothpick as being some sort of
as being something
It's
horrible.
a negative thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's gonna die. He's another toothpick.
Although the show creators David Chase has a rule about no camera movement in the therapy scenes with Dr. Milfy, at the start of this episode, the camera slowly moves to the right, revealing Carmela sitting next to Tony for their joint therapy sessions, as they mentioned earlier. The only time the camera moves in those scenes, I believe. The song playing during the end credits, Shuck Dub by R.L. Burnside. Okay. Assemblyman and Pat Cerrito, Agent Dwight Harris also appear together in episode 1-8, The Good Wife. And it's Judge Harvey. Okay, whatever. Stupid facts for this episode. But not a stupid episode, Matt. Anything else about this episode that you didn't get a chance to mention? I think we hit
I
it.
feel like it ticked every box except there wasn't enough Pauly, Christopher, and Silvio, but you didn't miss them. It's only like when we're actually keeping score that it's a big deal.
Silvio's the only one we didn't see at all, right? I mean, of our main
So
cast.
Touch of Pauly.
Touch of Pauly.
Touch of Christopher. No Furio.
No Furio. He's busy plotting his banging of Carmela. I think Pauly's an interesting character. And I guess the last thing I want to talk about is Pauly, because he's an interesting character in the way that he's not dissimilar to Bobby or Sil in the way that he can just be a single moment or a single word in an episode. Like Bobby in Pine Barrens is one of Bobby's best moments, just because of Tony's reaction to him when he walks out in the suit. And then when he's driving the car with Tony, I think it's some of the more...
They make that terrible joke about, like, it says bear left.
But it's so honest, you know?
We went home. Oh, it's so Bobby, yeah.
It's so Bobby. But I don't think till later Bobby really carries episodes in this way. And I still don't think he carries it in the way that Pauly can do both in an interesting way. He's one of the best background guys. You have one line, yet speak when spoken to. In this episode, that one line is worth...
Go get your ears, go see the ear, nose, and throat specialist.
Yeah, I mean, just those little lines. Or like an episode like Pine Barrens, or some of the episodes where we get into him with the Jenny Sack joke, or him thinking he can join the New York family and Carmine.
Or the shit at the end with his mom, his real mom.
He carries these longer fucking scenes exceptionally well too, and creates one of the more unique and individualistic characters in all of The Sopranos. And yeah, I mean, a lot of the early part of The Sopranos, for the background characters, you get a lot of talk about pussy because people wanted to say pussy in public, but it's really Pauly Walnuts is
the episode in Italy where he's crushing it when they're in Italy. He's having all those weird commendatore moments that are like so awkward and so Pauly, and the scenes with the prostitute that he's with when he just wants some, spaghetti and gravy.
I love it. I love me some Pauly. So Matt, thank you so much. We'll be back in 2 weeks with the next episode called University. Appreciate all you guys joining us this evening to talk about this episode of The Sopranos. I will also be back this Sunday evening with The Walking David to talk about the second to last episode of The Walking Dead of the second to last season of The Walking Dead. So yeah, that was right. So join me on Sunday night at 10:30 p.m. for that. I may be on live on Twitch between now and then. And thank you to everyone that followed me over on Twitch. It got me over that 50 followers. I was very close, and I put out a couple of shouts. So now I'm at like 56 or 57. So I appreciate anyone that followed me over there. And I'll be playing some Smash Brothers soon, warming up to kick Matt's ass when the quarantine is over. And yeah, it'll be fun. Teo, DJ, Better, Killmonger, Celebrity Bikini, and all of our other friends that popped in here tonight. Cam, and CJ Ritchie, Jake, and I saw Jay earlier as well. So
you got Muhammad?
I did. Oh, and of course, Muhammad as well, buddy. Hope you're having a nice smoke-filled evening, my friend Muhammad. I know I will once this stream is over and I go to the stove because my lighter broke during the podcast. So, everyone, thank you so much for joining in tonight. And Matt, we will be back in a couple of weeks to talk about more fucking Sopranos.
We got a whole good run of episodes in front of us.
Yeah, and then some Jackie Jr. stuff. Teo, thank you so much for joining us. Love you guys. See you next time.
All right.
Oh, yeah, if you haven't already, hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Share the channel with a friend. Help us find the podcast. Oh, I have a new little sponsorship kind of thing, whatever, affiliate link. If you're ever interested in trying out Amazon Music, Yeah, that's Amazon Music, like one of their free music services. You can find a link in the description box of this video below, and if you click on that link and sign up for 30 free days, and you can cancel right after that. But if you sign up for 33 days, I get a little nominal something as a thank you. So if you're thinking about signing up for that shit and trying out that shit, and you want to help out the channel and you can't quite do Patreon or do a super chat donation, it's another one of those ways you can help us out over here. So just click on that little affiliate link, sign up for it. Unfortunately, you probably do have to enter your information and then cancel. But make sure if you can't remember to cancel, if you're a bad canceler, which I understand. I used to be a bad canceler, but what I do is I go, okay, Google, set a reminder for this date, cancel this shit. And then I'll set a second one for 2 days after that and give myself a little window. So it's like reminding me. And so then you can remind yourself to cancel it. And I know I shouldn't be advertising, like, get this thing so you can cancel it. But, I'm honest. So and I know how these free trials work, and I try to
get it and keep it if it's free. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. But get it, keep it. If you like it, get it. But if you can get it, use it, delete it. No harm to you. Helps me out. So think about doing that. You can find the link in the description box below. I'll have a graphic of it. But basically, it's like Amazon Music / Fill the Issues Guide. But you can see that in below. And let's one more time in the music. We got a lot to talk about, but we do need to run for this evening. But David and I will be down for a lot of random discussions this Sunday night, because there's only so much you can talk about these Walking Dead episodes this week. These very short Walking Dead episodes. Talk about the toxicity of Scientology. I could do that for a little bit, but please watch the South Park episodes. I'll talk to you later. Bye.